you're a home buyer, somebody or a young person looking to buy a home, you need a bit of a reset.
There is a possibility on the other side of this that inflation could actually be quite low.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers, and what we're going to go over today is what Zillow has to say about new home building. Essentially, guys, what Zillow is implying here is that currently, because of how toxic the housing market is, Zillow has basically a monopoly on the housing market, being that they are really the only area in the nation that is giving us additional inventory. So today we're going to go over a brief report from Zillow, but before I do that, I'm going to go over all of the updated stats from Fred Economic Data, including permits, starts, homes under construction, whether SFR or 5 units. We'll look at the updated prices of new homes. We'll look at the updated supply. And as far as prices, I really need you guys to pay attention to that part of the video because it is very deceiving if you don't look at the entire picture. And if you guys value information and data on new homes, hit like and do me a favor on the comment section below, type in bonkers. That will tell me that you guys want to know more about new homes. But either way, I really hope you guys enjoy. So we'll start with permits. And again, remember, this is from Fred Economic Data. If you guys want some data, Fred has a bunch of it, even though they always change it. So they will change this data, unfortunately. But as far as permits, we're sitting at 1 million. So we still have 1 million permits. That has been going up since January. So since January of 2023, again, that's been going up. It hit a low January in 2023, and in December of 2022, we are obviously off peak of about 1.25 million, but we are elevated and above where we were pre-pandemic. So you can see that right here. Pre-pandemic, we were sitting at 700 to about 900,000 permits issued. And this, guys, is for single family units. I'm not mixing the data with apartments. So we got 1 million SFRs or single family homes, SFH, on the way into the market. That's pretty good news. And that's been going up. So that's great news. Now, when we look at the starts and what's the difference between start and under construction, I'm not 100% sure on that. But either way, you guys, as far as units started, we're at 1.3 million. Now, again, this also includes 5 or more units. So it's not just SFRs. This is total housing stock. And really what I want to point out is we are right about where we were pre-pandemic, just depending on when pre-pandemic. You can see it kind of shot up here at the end of 2019. But prior to the end of 2019, we were sitting at about the same units started. So again, November 2019, we were sitting at 1.34 million. Right now, we're sitting at 1.33 million. So still a ton of starts going on right now. Now, when we look at total units, and by the way, you guys, every graph that we reviewed is the 5-year graph. So if you want a bigger picture of what's going on, you can obviously expand these charts, but I only have this to 5. Now look at total units under construction. Now this is way above pre-pandemic. We have 1.67 million housing units under construction. That is massive, you guys. Now, right before lockdowns, we were sitting at about 1.1 to about 1.1 million units started. So we have almost a 50% increase, 50% increase in the total units started. That is insane. So they're building like crazy, absolutely like psychopaths right now. But when we filter out the apartments and we just look at single family residences, we have 680,000 according to this. And remember, you guys, this is underreported. I will show you that here in a second. But this has been going down. So the starts for SFRs has been going down since we peaked. Overall peaked. Obviously, new homes peaked in October of 2022, whereas the remaining part of existing kind of peaked, depending on the metro area, May to June of 2022. But the peak was 829,000. We're now sitting at 680. And I just, again, want to draw your attention to pre-COVID. So pre-COVID, we were sitting at slightly over 500,000. So about 5.25. And right now we have 680. So the building is incredible still. I mean, it's still going on. They're tampering it down a little bit as far as SFRs, but when we look at apartments, they are speeding that up. Now, here's the really, really important thing, at least in my opinion, you guys. This is the monthly supply of new homes. We are sitting at right now a whopping 8.3 months. The reason why this is so important to understand is generally considered a buyer's market when we have 6 months or more. And I also want to draw your attention over here when we had a sustained 6 months. So basically, I mean, we hit 6 months at the end of 2021, but it dropped back down. And then we sustained it technically in February of 2022, which means we have had 6 months or more of inventory for new homes for 2 years. So again, I attribute the loss of value and the price decline of new homes as a result of exactly this. There's basically hypersupply. And this, again, you guys, is underreported. They have to have happy times at their stock market. Now, pre-COVID, you can see here, they were less than 6 months. So pre-COVID, they were sitting at a little bit, actually, it was about 6 months in the middle of 2019, dropped back down, went back up, but roughly 5 to 6 months right before lockdowns. So obviously, guys, that has shot up as high as 10 months. But I'm going to tell you again, doing all of these boots on the ground video, literally going to, I don't know, 15, 20 metro areas, this is all underreported. I could tell you for sure there are some areas with a year, possibly even 2 years of supply and inventory as a result of, again, speculation. These guys are speculating in all over the place, especially in, and this is crazy, in rural areas. They have made massive cities, right? Brand new cities in these rural areas that have one road in and one road out. It's really, really shocking, but there is a massive lack of transparency and a lack of accountability when it comes to purchasing new homes. All right, guys, so take a look at this. This is the 1 year view. So this is the 1 year view of median sales prices for new homes. We did have a slight uptick up. So it went from 413. It went up about a little over $7,000 to 4,2,700. Now, the reason I have this 1 year view is because remember last month when this updated, the prices for median homes was down almost 14%. Okay. So in 1 month, it's now only down about 3%. So we went from a loss, year-over-year loss of 14% almost to all the way down to 4%. And the reason that is, you guys, is again, this is comparing January 2023 to right now. When we look at the year over year, it's only showing again 2-3%. But when we spread this out to 5 years, look at this. When we look at the 5 year, when we look at the big picture, you can clearly see the peak. And you can clearly see, although there were bounces up, it's trending downward. There's a few bounces up here, but look, it just trended back downward. So right now, the fact that this trended upward, to me, this says a few things. It means that potentially demand is back early this year because normally from December to January, this goes down. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out this year. Are we going to have another year of new home values going down double digits, or will it look like this, which is basically sideways-ish? Time will tell. But regardless, new home values are going down, and that is not including the required seller's concessions that these people are supposed to be reporting. Now, does that mean all of them are not reporting in every single transaction? No, it doesn't mean that. But I will say, and I'm willing to bet here, that an overwhelming amount of new home transactions did not accurately report seller's concessions, again, as required by Fannie Mae. And that makes a huge problem for that entire community, because if it's not in the comps that they're using for the appraisal value, then you're never going to find price discovery. You're never going to have an accurate value of the home. There's a reason why appraisals are in place, and there's a reason why there's policy and regulations when it comes to computing appraisals. And so the fact that there's over 4 million comps that aren't accurately reported, that's really bad. Really, really bad, you guys. Now that we've gone through the data, let's see what Zillow has to say the reasoning for all of this data trends is. So when we access this most recent Zillow article that says January 2024, new home sales increase again as builders maintain their advantage. So they know, okay, so, and here's the thing, you guys, maintain their advantage. They can go down on prices. We know they can go down on prices because they're spending $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on these buy downs instead of going down on the price. We know this because there are some new home builders that are offering a 10% buyer's commission instead of going 10% down on the price. We know that they have a monopoly on this. We see it in their stocks. New home builders are not regulated the same way that agents are. They can get away with so much crazy stuff, including the arbitration agreement in the special warranty deed that buyers are forced, and I'm using this word specifically, forced to sign if they want the house. And what that does is prohibits them from basically suing them. And it also turns away hundreds and thousands of attorneys. Attorneys don't want to touch these types of things because they would have to pierce the arbitration agreement, which is very timely and very expensive. So these new home builders, there's a reckoning coming. I hope by 2026, they will be summoned to Congress to answer for all of these things. Just a few things here, guys, and then I want to jump over to the census data and then show you guys what Lennar is offering and then show you guys new home source. So according to Zillow, what happened? As mortgage rates eased, newly built home sales continued to increase in January, along with housing demand and builder confidence. Now that has changed because interest rates now are in the 7%, at least as of the day of recording this. Although the increase fell below expectations, builders continue to maintain their advantage heading into this year's home shopping season. At least that's what the headline says. Why does that matter? Why it matters, despite the recent uptick in supply of existing homes coming onto the for sale market, resale inventory remains a whopping 40% below pre-pandemic levels. New construction is helping to fill that gap as long as the home is still standing. As a result, sales of newly built homes increased in the past year, while existing homes fell off a cliff right on its face. The decline in mortgage rates in December, coupled with a steady supply of newly built homes, continue to propel new home sales higher. So new home sales are doing great, existing, not so much. Builder sentiment continues to improve, and the share of builders offering incentives has fallen according to the National Association of Home Builders. I don't believe that for a second. Unexpected population growth and higher real incomes are likely to support housing demand. What do you mean higher incomes? I mean, 60% higher incomes? I don't think so. Maybe if you work at McDonald's, you're making more money. I don't know though. Despite the increase in mortgage rates since January, new home sales could keep moving higher. Although the pace is slowing, builders will likely remain their advantage in the current environment by building more effectively and making the math work for prospective home buyers with small price cuts and other incentives such as rate buydowns and closing costs. So they believe one of the reasons why the builders are going to have that monopoly on the house market is because they can go down on prices. They have the margin to go down on prices, but they're like, just go a little bit. Don't go a lot, just a little bit. But me and you are saying, no, go a lot so that we can afford it. Now, real quick, let's take a look at the sizes of houses because, again, we hear so much narratives. It's just shrinkflation. It's just Zuber. It's just goober. It's just shrinkflation. My little dog, like, here's my little dog. Here's my nice little dog. Look at this. I'm not doing well on YouTube. Oh, my God, buy my course. I'm sorry, guys. That was petty. But these grifters, man, these grifters are out there milking their viewers for everything that they have. I know, I mean, it's their decision to waste their money, but I mean, it drives me crazy. I mean, I feel like these people are they're just cons. They're absolute cons. I mean, guys, here's the reality about real estate. If you wanted to be successful at real estate prior to the lockdowns, you just need to be 5 years old and have a simple understanding of math. That's literally what it took to be successful in real estate. So if you are patting yourself on the back for becoming a multimillionaire, understand that it was the easiest time in history to become a millionaire in real estate. And more than likely, you just got lucky. And I say that because doctors that make as much money as you have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars and take schooling for decades. Okay, so you got lucky. I'm sorry, I don't mean to attack you. I'm just frustrated because the entire housing market right now has been capitalized. The greed is just out of control. Just give us our houses back. I'll forfeit my house. I don't care. All right, give us our houses back. That's my point. Anyways, guys, talking about shrinkflation, I've highlighted the fourth quarter of 2022 and the fourth quarter of 2023. Now, I highlighted the fourth quarter of 2022 because that's when values started going down. So they started going down in the fourth quarter, and you guys see that the homes actually got bigger the first quarter of 2023, which is right here. So they got bigger, not smaller, although it got smaller in Q2, but then again, they got bigger in Q3. So they got bigger, but again, they got smaller. In other words, you guys, the median square footage, if we look at the year over year, is about 50 square foot smaller. And when we look at the average is about 95 square foot smaller. But again, this is the time when values were going down. And when we look at the average, this is the average section, this is the median. So when we look at the average, it went down 2 square feet, Q1, went down a little bit more in Q2, but then they got bigger in Q3, they got smaller in Q4. So, you really can't say that the reason for the values going down is shrinkflation. But what I will say is the reason values aren't going down even more is because of the lack of seller concessions being reported. Now that is something that's happening right now. And I like to include this data in these videos, you guys, because some knucklehead pizza delivery guy made a video saying, oh, I'm wrong. The US Census Bureau has everything. It's well reported. So this guy, instead of like helping make the public aware about the problem, is making a video about something he doesn't even understand. If he would have just read the notes on the Census Bureau, he would have seen that the Census Bureau is a joke. They don't even have 80% of the information. I highlighted this. I highlighted this. Now, this is regarding the info, the data. This is subject to non-sampling error. The total quantity response rate for these estimates is 77.9%. So in what world is 77.9% covering everything? Normally, if you're going to cover everything, it's 100. So I'm just showing you guys there's a lack of transparency with the data. Now, if you want to get data other than the Census Bureau and MLS, one place that I go to, guys, is New Home Source. And I typed in Houston. You guys can see just how many houses are in Houston. And this is way underreported, by the way. I mean, some of these communities have 2 to 3 times more than what's reported on New Home Source. That's something that I showed you guys when I traveled around the nation. But right now it's saying in the Houston area, there's over 9,000 new homes for a total of about, 800 communities. That's so much in Houston. So what I do, guys, is I just kind of just hone in on clusters, and that's where I like to travel. Because I want to find places that are basically building on top of each other. So builders competing with each other. Like, for example, look at this cluster right here. I mean, that's a massive cluster. So this is somewhere that I would want to investigate right here, right? I mean, look at all these houses. And then right here, so this is what, Centera? But I mean, look at that. Huge cluster right there. And look, it has a price cut. Look at that. So that's a $300,000 house with a $50,000 price cut. That's huge. That's over 15%, right? So this is where I go, guys. If you're in an area, what I would do, go New Home Source, type in your area and see what's going on as far as new home construction. Now, as far as some of the ridiculous buying incentives, I just wanted to offer a refresher on what Lennar is offering. Lennar is the #2 new home builder in the US, and Lennar is offering a fixed rate of 4.25%. Right now, rates are in the 7%. Lennar is offering a market rate 300 basis points or 3% under market. If a loan officer were to say, hey, you qualify for a 7, but I can get you a 4.25, it's going to cost you $30,000. That, I mean, literally, I couldn't legally do that. I couldn't even as a loan officer, I couldn't even give you the option to get a 4.25, more than likely, because I can't charge you that much money. So it costs a lot of money to get that 4.25. But on top of the 4.25, look at it. They're also offering $27,000 in price reductions. I mean, come on, right? And I'm sure they're going to pay closing costs as well. But these incentives right there are absolutely ludicrous, you guys. And other than that, you guys, that is going to conclude our in-depth dive on what's going on with new home construction. Now, I'm going to warn you guys, if you are out there purchasing a new home, remember, don't go in by yourself. And if you do, you don't want to listen to me, say you go in there anyways. Please, guys, don't sign in to their system. If you sign into their system, you don't put a realtor, they may not allow you to use a realtor without you paying them. And also remember the quality of construction. Okay, look at the testimonials in the area and make sure that the current owners are happy with the product, because it is very, 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 very dangerous, not only with the prices of these new homes, but the quality of construction as well. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys got some new insights, value, and perspective. And if you're out there investing in real estate, you guys already know I wish you luck, and I hope you win.